Media is in every part of our children's lives. As adults, technology is almost always with us. It's in our homes, our cars, our pockets, and the same is becoming true for kids. In fact, by the time the average child graduates high school in America, they will have spent more time using digital media than in a classroom. Let that sink in for a minute. Our kids will spend more time on their media devices than they even spend in a classroom. That's why it's so important to understand how to keep media use healthy. I'm Dr. Liz Horgan, and together, Dr. Roxy Etta and I are bringing you this video series on healthy media use. We're both moms with PhD degrees in child development, and our research focus is on children's media. It can take up to 17 years for research to make it out to the public. And this is a huge problem, especially when it comes to research about kids' media. And we want to fix this problem. So we're here to teach you the newest research about kids and media. In this video series, you'll learn the newest information and gain the confidence to guide digital media use for your children and the children in your care. We'll use the term caregiver throughout this series to refer to both primary caregivers and childcare providers. There is a lot of media content out there for kids, but not all content that claims to be for kids is appropriate or even healthy. With all of the options, it can be overwhelming to try and figure out what's right. Research shows that most caregivers are worried about the media their kids are using. So if you're feeling worried about early media use, you are not alone. But there's good news. There are clear steps you can take to guide early media use. Think of yourself as a media mentor for the children in your care. They look to you to guide their media use and figure out what is right. So the goal is to help kids in a way that benefits their development and teaches them healthy media habits for life. We will give you the knowledge and skills to become a great media mentor. So first, we're going to cover just the general recommendations for children's media use. Screen media or digital media means activities on an electronic device. So these are devices like TV, computers, tablets, and phones. Activities on screen media include things like watching videos, using apps, and playing games. We sometimes call these activities screen time. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no screen media for children under 18 months. But there is an exception to this, and that's video chat. Video chat like FaceTime or Skype is good for kids of all ages. Video chat actually helps build social bonds with faraway loved ones and is not considered screen time. Caregivers can begin to introduce more classic screen time between the ages of 18 and 24 months. But it is strongly encouraged that caregivers use media with children in this age range and only show them high quality content. The American Academy of Pediatrics also recommends that children between the ages of 2 and 5 have 1 hour or less of high quality media use. If you're a child care provider watching this, make sure you inform the parents of the children in your care about any screen time used by their child. Children 5 and older should aim for 2 hours or less of screen media. These are general guidelines, but they do provide a helpful starting point for thinking about your role as a media mentor. The time limits matter, but what matters even more is the content and context, or how, why, and where of media use. Yep, 1 hour per day is a great goal. But what matters more is actually what the rest of the child's day looks like. Did they get enough sleep? Were they able to have free play and ideally some time outdoors? Have they eaten enough? Have they had face-to-face conversations with the caregiver? By thinking through the big picture of a child's day, and making sure they have enough of the experiences that really matter most for development, the places where screen time fits in have less of an impact. You'll have the opportunity to think through a child's day with our daily scheduling worksheet after this video. So next, we'll tell you about some of the current research about what kids are actually doing on their screens. So a recent survey found that 98% of American children have access to some type of smartphone, tablet, or computer in their home. And this was true for children across income levels. And actually, half of toddlers and preschoolers have their own mobile device. Young kids are spending about 2.5 hours a day on screens. If you remember, the recommendation is that kids 5 and under spend less than an hour per day. So this means that young children are currently spending more than double the recommended amount of time on screens every day. The concern with having too much screen time for young children is that it might be taking away from other important things like playing, sleeping, physical activity, or reading books with a caregiver. So, we know that kids are spending a lot of time on media, but what are they doing on these screens? Research shows that kids are mainly watching shows and videos. Somewhere around 73% of kids' media time was spent watching TV or videos. 16% was spent using apps and games, and the rest of their time was spent doing other activities like reading ebooks. So when they are watching videos, they spend the most time watching those videos online. 37% of kids' video viewing was through online platforms like YouTube. 29% was using streaming services like Netflix or Hulu. 23% of their time was more classic TV watching, like live, pre-recorded, or on demand. And the final 11% was watching DVDs or pre-recorded movies. Mobile devices like smartphones have changed the game for kids' screen time. Content's available all the time and it's so easy to access. But unfortunately, a lot of online content is designed to keep kids' eyes on the screen because video creators make money off of views, which makes it really challenging to craft a healthy online media environment. So it's very important for you to be aware of things like app algorithms or that special software that chooses what to show next to your child. Features like autoplay can cause children to be exposed to inappropriate content. Another problem is ads, which may target kids or show them inappropriate content. It's more important than ever to be on top of kids' media use as much as we can. As busy caregivers, it is not always possible to be there for all of a child's screen time. But there are strategies that you can use to help manage screen time and set realistic limits to keep your child healthy. There's a term we like to use called parental or caregiver mediation, which is just talking about all of the strategies that you use to guide your child's media use, with the goal of increasing benefit and decreasing risk. Mediation is the way that you control, supervise, or help kids understand the media they see. This includes things like what devices they're allowed to use, what content they're allowed to interact with, and what places and times media is acceptable. The way you think about media and the choices you make about your child's media use are the main things that control their media experience. So many adults automatically start with an approach called restrictive mediation, which is just when you set and enforce rules around screens to limit access or time spent on screens. But research has found that just setting rules isn't actually enough to positively impact your child's screen use. Instead of just setting rules and limits, research actually suggests that the best strategy is talking about media with kids regularly. And this is known as active mediation. In active mediation, there are still firm rules and boundaries, but they're regularly explained and discussed to help the child understand. Because regularly talking about the rules can help kids create their own understanding of what is healthy with screen use. You don't have to let kids help make the rules, and they don't have to like the rules either. But research shows that ongoing communication with kids about their media use is the best way to manage screen time. So one active mediation strategy that we really like is setting up some media-free areas in your home or childcare center. Once you decide which areas tech is not allowed, you can then explain to kids why and when screens aren't allowed and help them understand. So this could look like saying, we don't use screens in the kitchen because that's where we eat. We want to focus on the meal and on our time together, rather than being distracted by what's on the screen. Another important aspect of active mediation is using media together with children when possible. Because these shared media times can look different depending on the situation. Sometimes it can mean sitting down together to watch a show and talking about what's on the screen. This is something called joint media engagement. You could also let your child watch a show alone and then ask them questions after in order to be involved. Active mediation just means being hands-on with kids' media use and talking to them about their experiences on media. You'll have a chance to think about your current mediation style in the activities following this video. Another active mediation strategy that we love is creating a media menu, showing kids what content they're allowed to use based on the limits you've decided. Check out our example media menu and think about what you might want to offer as options. Practice these strategies and come back next time ready to chat about how it went. A few key takeaways. Young kids spend double the amount of recommended time on screens and mainly spend their time watching videos. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no screen time under 18 months, except for video chat, which is okay for kids of all ages. Kids 18 to 24 months can begin to be introduced to high-quality screen time with adult supervision. And then kids ages 2 to 5 should aim for 1 hour or less of screen time per day. But the content and context of media use are important, not just the amount of time.